mess.
Greetings, sisters, and everyone who's here on the live. Um, I should say good evening, grand evening, to be
Grand
exact.
evening. Yes. We have postponed our 2 o'clock podcast, and we are coming to you live at around midnight on our, I don't even know what episode this is, but we're on a roll.
Yeah, we are on the roll. I believe this is our seventh episode. And we have just been going back to back to back to back. And we did not want to miss out this topic. And I think it's divine timing, actually, that we are at this hour because we are at the Newt hour. Newt is the goddess, sky mother goddess of the cosmos. And in Sacred Woman, in our trainings and our teaching, this is the gateway where we really deep dive into the womb. And so, with embracing the queen, one of the similarities within the aspects that we go over within the womb space is taking your seat. So, today's topic, Take a Seat, Sis,
Take a
is about
seat.
all things womb wellness. Ashe.
Ashe, Ashe. I am Sacred Woman practitioner Chantel Sierra Shakim, your holistic health coach or self-care coach. And you are?
Sacred woman practitioner Sherry Unk. Lady Unk is what my tribe calls me. I am an alchemist, spiritualist, and a lifestyle wellness coach.
We are here today to talk about taking our seat on the throne. So, yes, what does that look like to you in an everyday, practical way? What does sitting on your throne look like? And tapping into that womb space, as you mentioned.
So, what that looks like for me, typically every day when I rise and before I even really get completely out the bed or completely woke, I just thank myself, thank the Most High with that dwells within me, for allowing me to rise, and I take a few moments to gather my thoughts. I think that's the first place that I take my seat because oftentimes, especially during the week, we're rushed. We have to maybe get children off to school or to daycare. We maybe have to go to work or have appointments. And so before I even step one foot on the carpet, I like to just, give myself some thanks, give the breath some thanks, check in, tap in with my body while I'm still like in a seated position because I'll usually be seated up on my bed. And so that's the first thing that I like to do within my day in order to just check in with myself. Taking your seat is about really checking in with you.
Yes, yes. So I likewise do similar things first thing in the morning. As I open my eyes, I am looking up to the sky through my walk, through my ceiling, and just acknowledging I am here another day. And I am so thankful for this day. And I also do an energy feel of my womb. I do this and I lay my hands on my womb and I just do my womb chants of just, I am radiant and so is my life. That is the one that continues to permeate my being as we learned in our practices going through our rites of passage. Those womb chants and awakening our womb so that we can hear and so that we can be present in the moment. And then I sat there and I began to give gratitude for all the things that I'm thankful for, and how I wish and see my day moving forward. So that is just speaking out of what is within me. Of I'm thankful for my breath. You mentioned that. I'm thankful for life because I woke up another day. I'm thankful for the opportunity that I get to share with other people my light, because there's a lot of darkness. So I definitely think that, tapping into our womb is a very much a priority in living this queenly life, or living a life of an abundant life, or a life of wellness. I'm always in much gratitude for my health, and knowing that my arms move, my legs move, even though sometimes I be having some aches first thing in the morning. I'll be like, oh Lord, pull it together. I'm thankful for my health, seeing myself well and moving in dexterity and flow. And it's just whatever is coming up at the moment is what I give gratitude for.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I do shortly after I get up, brush the teeth, do all of the hygiene things, I do my sun salutation. And one of the chants that I absolutely love, right as I'm closing out my sun salutation, which if you don't know what that is, that's just really stretching. I like to open my blind, stretch in front of the window, let the sun hit me, and then as I close, I do prayer hands to my forehead, awaken the womb of my mind for what I think I create. I take those hands and I cover my heart, awaken the womb of my excuse me, awaken. I'm getting lost as I'm saying it. Awaken the womb of my mind for what I think I create. Awaken the womb of my heart for what I feel I create. And then doing the Merkulu, sis, if you could demonstrate, because I'm holding the phone. Thanks. We'll do the Merkulu, and I place the Merkulu over my womb space right below the belly button. Awaken my womb in my seat of creation for what I think and what I feel I birthed through my seed of creation. And I like to say that chant every rising because it really reminds me throughout my day that everything I'm thinking, everything I'm feeling, I am seeing or birthing into my reality. And so it's really important that I keep my thoughts and my feelings, my heart, my emotions in check so that I am birthing my desires and not my fears or my trauma or my triggers. And so that is one of the affirmations, the womb affirmations that really, really helps me to remember that I am the divine creator creatress. And if I am seated on my throne and I am honoring myself as a divine being, then I understand that I am creating with my mind, my thoughts, and my feelings. So making
Yes,
bringing
yes.
awareness to that as I'm about to approach the day is one of the things that I love, 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 love to do. Is there anything else that you particularly do in order to strengthen your womb? We talk a lot about different things within the program. What's one of your other favorites to
One of the things that you pointed out, that I want to go into a little deeper, is how you say you are intentional about not manifesting your fears, your worries, your doubts, your traumas. And so with that, I often do the same thing with the prayer. But it's when we think about our womb space, this is a key point of being able to embrace the queen within, is being able to allow those things that limit us and stagnate us to come up, so that we can deal with them and that we can overcome them. The fears, the traumas, the worries, the stress, the pain, all of those things are definitely held in our womb space. And I want to go into what that looks like. in our unhealthy wombs,
Oh,
right?
thank you.
That is something that a lot of women often don't even connect with their dis-ease, right? Their dis-ease or their dysfunction. And it shows up a lot in the form of, heavy menstrual cycles, clotting, fibroids, tumors, endometriosis, POC. All of those things are in our seed of creation, and they manifest from the fear, the doubt, the worry, the stress, the holding on to those traumas. So, as we begin to work with embracing the queen within, we tap into how to release those things in a way that they no longer affect you in that capacity. I remember my journey before Sacred Woman. I had really, really, really intense periods. My menstrual cycles were very, very heavy. I was hemorrhaging, as Queen would say. You're hemorrhaging, when you're having these very heavy cycles. I would have like cycles that lasted 2 weeks. And I mean, just heavy clots and just, I mean, very, very not painful, but painful in the way of having to deal with it, right?
Mm.
And having it affect the way I was able to show up and how I could or couldn't do simple things because I was afraid that I was going to leak out over everything, So being able to process those feelings, as we said, in a healthy way will help our womb space become healthy as well.
Absolutely, and I'm really glad that you pointed that out because oftentimes when we have womb dis-ease or discomfort, as you mentioned, the heavy bleeding, the clotting, the endometriosis, if you're suffering, it could even be some of the emotional aspects of womb trauma that we face. Miscarriages. Trauma that you may face as a result of pregnancy terminations. Um, and those things are things that we often don't consider leave a vital impact or imprint on our womb space. And so processing those things, those traumas, those diseases, discomforts, allows us to release that stagnated energy. And one of since you mentioned that, that segues perfectly into one of my very top practices. And in the program, I go into deep detail about what to do, how to do it. But I'm just going to tell you one of my top. Um, I consider it a spiritual practice. Some people consider it a spa service. But yoni steaming or yoni smoking has been one of my favorite practices for any woman who has suffered from womb traumas, womb disease, or womb discomfort. A lot of people have the misnomer that yoni steaming is only for freshening up.
Self-care.
Yes, self care or freshening up. But there are yoni steam and yoni smoke blends that can help you to reduce PCOS symptoms, reduce the heavy bleeding and menstrual cycles. As we know, herbs can heal a multitude of anything. I would venture to say herbs can cure anything. Um, and if we utilize those herbs in a particular way, we can allow the essence of those herbs to enter the womb space and start to not only do a physical cleanse of actually helping to break down those blood clots, those cysts, and any
The
other
fibroids.
fibroids that could be inside of there, but to also help to release the emotional baggage that we hold on to within our womb space. Ex-boyfriends who wasn't no good, all
That
of those
part.
things. So
Yes, yes.
there are a multitude of things that we can do for our womb space to help to not only heal the physical pain, but even the emotional scars that are left behind.
And the emotional part of it is a really, really big part of it. You know, we look at our overall health. I mean, I'm looking at it from a perspective of being a nurse for many, many years, for over 20 something years, and seeing how, we always are looking to find a remedy to our disease and our ailments, and we go to the physicians and they give us, a band-aid in a sense, because they never really address the emotional side of disease and disorders. And really, when we come down to it, most of our ailments do come from either the foods that we're eating or the unprocessed emotions. So it's really, really important to be able to process in a way that our seed of creation can begin to create and birth those experiences, releasing the trauma, releasing the pain, releasing the emotional strain, so that it can be fresh and fertile to birth the things that we want to experience. We have a question
Oh,
that
great.
showed up. It says, I literally just canceled my fibroid removal surgery. My cycles have gotten lighter since I've been healing in other spaces. Give
I
thanks, sis.
say,
Give
give
thanks.
thanks.
I
Give
mean, this is what the work does. And, Queen Afua, our mentor and guide, she is such a phenomenal educator in this arena, in teaching us how important it is to make sure that we're putting in our body those things, the nutrients that can help heal us by removing the things that are toxic. As far as foods are concerned, the processed foods, the dairy, the meat products that are full of all kinds of hormones that reproduce in our own body, rapid cell production,
Mhm.
which causes a lot of our issues that we have, creating the fibroids and the tumors and the endometriosis. So give thanks, sis Amina, for sharing in our circle. We are happy that you are here and that you have a success story to share. And this womb seated on your throne is just right on time for you and your actual situation. So thank you.
Absolutely. And for sisters that are dealing with fibroids specifically, as well as cysts, one of my favorite herbal remedies to use is castor oil. You want to use a organic castor oil. Get a cotton cloth or a wool cloth, a natural fiber cloth. Put the oil on the cloth. Put it over the womb space, so the womb space would be below the belly button, and you want to either use a hot water bottle or a heating pad on top of that. Most people like to line the cloth with what do you call that? Plastic wrap paper, and then put their heating pad or water bottle. I personally feel like that's a not necessary step, so I just put my water bottle right on top. But you want to do that. I mean, if you're not already, I'm sure you've researched some of the natural things that you can do. But put that over your womb space for about 20 minutes a day. Castor oil is a oil that in particular has the ability to penetrate deeper layers of skin, and it also has components that allows it to break down scar tissue as well as the blood clots. So doing that on a regular basis will help to minimize the clotting that you get during the cycles. It will also help to shrink and possibly break down the fibroid if you do this on a consistent basis. It works wonder. It really helps with the pain as well. So I did want to give that little tidbit for those who are dealing with that issue. Thank you so much, sister, for sharing that with us in the circle.
Yes, and isn't it that can't you also put a couple of drops in your belly button? that help?
Absolutely. I absolutely love putting castor oil in the belly button. What it does when you put it in the belly button, it actually helps to stimulate the colon, and so by stimulating the colon, you relieve pressure off of the uterus, which tends to sometimes cause prolapse. So if you notice you're a little bloated in the belly area, you're probably holding on to more waste, which can affect the womb by that, your
The
waist
pressure.
pressing down can definitely clog and affect the womb. Huh? You want a banana?
Okay.
We don't have no bananas, baby. Sorry.
Look, look, and eating your fruits and
And
vegetables and your
vegetables.
fiber will definitely help with that the constipation that may also put the pressure on the womb space. So, yes, fiber and your fruits and your veggies is a perfect way to start. And that's one area that we also address in our Embracing the Queen Within. We give a lot of the tools and the nuggets of how to support healthy wombs. So, another way that we can support our healthy womb is to begin to speak to it. One of the things that I've found mentoring women and going into the circle with other women who are on their healing journey is that they find that some women don't even we say speak to your womb and hear what your womb has to say. I remember going through other mentor circles holding space for sisters, and a lot of women have said they don't even hear their womb. They have a disconnect with their womb, and that disconnect is something that actually um, puts the womb in a stagnant place where it doesn't cultivate healing, that it doesn't cultivate allowing you to birth anything. It's just stuck. So when you begin to use affirmations to speak to your womb space and to begin to work through the energy that is stuck there, you will definitely see changes in the way the womb awakens and begins to speak to you. And that is your highest self. That is where a lot of your inner child energy is stuck at, and your inner child. So the womb space can act out, can act out in promiscuity and sexuality. Even at a younger age, we see a lot of these young girls these days being very promiscuous. I mean, even in my day, that was a thing. And it's because the womb has been suppressed. So that is a way for her to get attention in a sense. And that attention is just building on to the trauma that's already there. So being able to speak life into your womb space so that she can feel love, she can feel wanted and needed and heard, because we need to be able to connect to that space so that we can hear where she's not being nurtured or affirmed. So, being able to speak to our womb space is another way that we can really help to reduce even the way our periods show up. If you're having these periods where you're having cramps and you're having pain and it's going to your head and your crown and migraines and whatever. I haven't had issues with my womb and my menstrual cycles in a while, if that tells you anything. I did have a hysterectomy before I even came into this work, but knowing that I can still speak into that space. So even us women who have had hysterectomies because of those heavy periods or hemorrhaging or uterine cancers or cervical cancers or whatever, your womb space still remains. The energy of the womb is still there. And it is really, really important to connect with it and to begin to utilize that energy to begin to be a fertile ground to birth your queenly life or your highest vibration of life.
Absolutely. And when you talk about stagnated womb energy, one of the things that I really stress a lot with my clients, with myself, and any woman that is going into the work of self healing. When you open up those lines of communication or attempt to open up those lines of communication with your womb space again, one of the things you have to do is not only affirm your womb space and affirm her, but you also need to accept what has happened. And so there are a lot of things, a lot of trauma that we push down to the surface for whatever various reasons. Maybe it was childhood trauma and we were told not to speak up or not to say anything. It could have been self inflicted trauma, trauma from past relationships. Whatever the case may be, we have to accept and own that that thing or that experience did take place. Part of the blockage comes when you suppress. Um, I'll speak very briefly. When you suppress something, some trauma that's happened to that womb space, a part of that suppression not only suppresses the womb or the memory of what has transpired, but it suppresses a piece of you, a piece of your soul. And so in order to reaffirm that, in order to come up out of that stagnation, you have to accept what has taken place. And that is where the work really starts to begin. And a part of that acceptance starts in your journal. Journaling nightly is a great way to open up those lines of communication with your womb space. We all remember as children we would be given diaries, and we would write in our diaries or sometimes doodle. That is a really important tool for a young woman to have, is the ability to say her thoughts and emotions without judgment. And so utilizing your journal to communicate with yourself is a wonderful way to connect with your womb and to really push past that stagnated energy and release anything that's been holding you back.
Right, right. So that in itself is a birthing of the experience, right? So no longer are you holding it, you're getting it out. So that's one thing that we haven't been taught, is that you have a safe space to get it out. And even if it's not in a way that you're accepting that, oh, I deserved this to happen, or I deserved for whatever trauma to have happened to me, or you're not taking responsibility for why or how it happened, but you're acknowledging it. And you can acknowledge it with all of the feelings that come with it, writing it out. And some people don't write really well. So we would offer you the opportunity to do a audio recording. You know,
Absolutely.
we have these cell phones these days, we can put them to use. Go on your phone, on your recorder, and just speak about it. How it made you feel, and how you want to release it, and how you have accepted it as something that has truly happened to me. And when I can address it and speak it out, I can also speak out what it has taught me, or what I gained from it. It's called a rewrite. So it's not to say that you limit or devalue the experience, but you put a spin on it that brings worth and value back to yourself. So it's very, very important to get it out so that it doesn't fester and multiply more of those experiences of disconnect with your womb.
Thanks, sis. That was wonderful. We actually have a question for Anima. She says, "Does having sex after doing these womb healing rituals discard the work?" Wonderful question, sis. Ooh, I'm glad I got that one.
Give thanks.
So, as a part of my healing journey, I took a bout of celibacy. So, prior to having my now almost 3 year old, I was celibate for about 5 years after having my oldest child. And one of the reasons that I became celibate is because I realized that and I don't want to say it. I say it in the class the way that I say it. Y'all gonna have to join the class to get the complete tea, but
All the tea, right?
to get all the tea. But what I said was there was something about me that was attracting a caliber of man that I did not want. And I have a really good funny way of saying it, but I can't say it for reasons that
For
they
the
might.
whole world. You don't want the whole world to
I want
know,
the
huh?
whole world to know that. But I said something about me is attracting, the wrong caliber of guy. And part of the work that I know that I needed to do on self, um, uh, sister, you mentioned earlier that you can act out sexually, and I had a long experience of acting out sexually. Just like many of the young women today. And so I knew that I had to remove that component so that I could truly focus on me, because the moment I got into a relationship or situationship or whatever with a man, it took my focus away from what I was supposed to be focused on. And so to answer your question, does having sex after doing these womb healing rituals discard the work? It would really depend on the individual who's doing the work and how you show up. And it would also depend on how you view the current relationship that you are in. Because some of us may not be promiscuous. We may have been with the same man for 15 years, but the way that we're viewing that relationship or showing up in that relationship is um is in a way that is not really feeding our soul. It's actually diminishing the work that we're trying to work on within ourselves. And so we need that separation, because sex is a transfer of energies. And so if that energy is not aligned, then yes, it will in fact discard the work that you're doing. Um or
And
at least some of it.
right. And I want to chime in on that too, because you know, I would say, from the perspective that I see it, is that when you are
That's
being
it. Go upstairs.
intimate and having sex, that should be a very healing and nurturing and very beautiful creative experience. So if at any time you're having sex out of obligation, if you're having sex to please someone else outside of yourself, if you're having sex with feelings that are not of the utmost highest esteem, of valuing self and feeling valued and feeling loved and feeling nurtured, that could make it a lot more difficult to navigate your own energy. So, really, what we're doing is we're fortifying our womb space so that we know what's ours and what's not. Because, like Lady Unk said, there is a transference of energy, and men utilize sex a lot to dump. I mean, I'm gonna just say it as it is. They are not emotional beings. They can't transmute their energy. A lot of men can't transmute their energy. So they use sex as a way to dump whatever they're dealing with. So as fortified women, we can help with that. That's what we do. We women, and when we're fortified, we can help them heal and transmute energy. But if you are struggling in that area of yourself and you are not able to hold what they are giving, even in the energy exchange, even if they are not um releasing inside you, it's still the experience of transmuting energy or releasing energy. And your womb has to be fortified enough to, who you are, this exchange is fortifying you whether you know it or not. There is a thing called sex transmutation, which is very powerful and very beautiful, but it has to be once you have fortified yourself. So if you have been strong in who you are, your womb is healthy and is able to utilize that energy of sexual encounters to manifest great things for yourself and for your partner, then it doesn't discard it. But if you are still working with self worth and self value and your own issues where your womb is not strong, it could definitely discard the work that you're doing, because you're going to continue to have to revisit that, and revisit the feeling of what you just did, we normally we normally go into it for the emotional connection and for the feeling too, but men go in it for just strictly
The release,
the release and the feeling of you,
gratification.
the gratification of having you. So I mean, it's really a personal experience, like Lady Young said, but it doesn't always discard it, but it could possibly.
Wonderful question. Wonderful question. Within within your womb space, women, ladies, within your womb space is really the key to all creation. All people come from the womb space, which means that everything that we've produced as a people has come from the womb. When we start to understand that there is so much more happening just than just um, the physicality of what we've been told the organ does, right? We've been told that the egg comes down, it drops this, and the baby, is fertilized, and then it comes out. And that's really theoretically all we've been told when it comes to the womb. But it's so much more than that. Every woman was not only in her mother's stomach when her mother was in her grandmother's stomach. And to be honest, we don't know how far back that
Multiple generations back, right?
which means that your DNA is not only full of whatever you have, but it's full of those past lives, those past generations that your womb, your seed comes from. And so the healing work does not end. It is really, honestly, it begins with you really building a relationship with your womb space. Once you take your seat, once you take your seat and decide that I'm going to sit within my womb, I am going to nurture her, I am going to love her, I am going to embrace her, I am going to accept her, I am going to be accountable to her, then you show up a whole lot different. Once I, decided to change my habits sexually, I've had so many mutations of my lifestyle. It's been amazing. There's been so many things that I've birthed. Now that's not to say that I haven't gone back on that. I have a whole 3-year old almost that I didn't expect to have out of wedlock. But I've learned so much in regards to that and how I show up. And it just keeps me doubled down in really mastering my own energy. And the more you master your energy, the more you can enjoy things like sharing your energy with another person and it not take away from who you are because you're so set in who you are. Many of us are coming into this work brand spanking new, which is why most programs that are truly healing program will tell you you may want to refrain from sex so that you can focus on self because I don't know about y'all, but as an empath, when I'm with someone, I start to feel whatever they feel,
Yeah.
just by being in their presence. So imagine when our auras are overlapping each other, our energetic field is intertwining when we're a little bit close. That gets more intense. And these are the feelings and the things that we don't think of how deep it goes. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes, and that is truly what it's all about. When we tap into our womb space, like you had mentioned, we have a lot to unpack there. We have a lot to unpack there. And because we haven't been taught, even as far as when we came into our puberty, a lot of us in our generations, we were lucky if we had a mother who felt okay to talk about it, right? And talk about what you can experience and the emotions of coming into becoming a woman. And it's like, okay, my mother, she basically gave me the basics of here's the pads and yeah.
Yeah. Listen, my mom, she had me fairly young, and I don't think she was prepared at all. She sent me around the corner to my auntie house. her, her oldest sister and my auntie, her only thing was to show me how to not make the bump in the pad show in the back of your underwear. And she told me to keep a nickel between my legs because if it fall, I'm gonna be pregnant. That was the that was the extent of the training that I received.
Look. And see, we out here struggling, y'all. We out here struggling. So this is the space where we can come in and have these candid conversations and really begin to divulge or devil into the misconceptions and then the truth behind what it is to be a woman and what it is to be seated on our thrones. And it starts with us connecting to who we are as creators. We bring life. We bring life into existence. We carry whole beings in our bodies and in that womb space. So it is so fertile for magic, for creating beautiful things, even outside of a human being. We can create our experiences from that same seed of creation once we begin to sit on that throne and begin to fortify and do the things to allow that to be a fertile ground and not a ground to hold and to cause us pain and discomfort and just have a period every month and hope to not get pregnant. So we want to teach you more about how you can embrace the queen within, starting in our womb space, starting in that seed of creation, and to really dive into the hurts and the pain and begin to allow you a space to release so that you don't suffer from the fibroids, you don't suffer from the endometriosis, you don't suffer from the ability to not be able to get pregnant because you may have had some um, abortions, or what are they called, terminations, another word for them, early on because you weren't ready, and now your womb is like, okay, we're not going to create. But it is a way to get that healed. It is a way to begin to bring birth what it is you truly desire. And it's a serious work, but it's doable. It's doable when you are surrounded by people who have been where you are, who have had the results that you're looking for, who have began to learn how to work with their seed of creation to really come face to face with the hard things that no one taught us. We're here for that. We are truly here for that. And when we can heal a woman, heal a nation, heal our womb space, heal our world. And it is something that is very honorable, and we invite you into the circle. We invite you into embracing the queen within. And it is something you can do. I mean, it's gonna hurt in a sense, but you already hurting if you having heavy periods and headaches and pains and mood swings. And let's release that. Let's get it out. Let's get it out in a healthy way where you're supported and where you can know what to do when those things come, so that now when you are opening up your womb to have sex or make love, you are creating great things, and you are doing it in a way where and with someone who is worthy of it, first and foremost,
Absolutely.
because you're
Absolutely.
worthy, because you are worthy.
Absolutely. And I want to just talk a moment about some of the things to expect within this week. So, as you all know, with each topic that we're bringing to you for the next 11 days, because this takes care of day one, we'll go over the weekly topics that we'll be discussing. So we'll go into the womb wellness for a whole week. We have our live training, we have one on ones, but we will really give you a lot of tools within the program, a lot of practices, rituals that you can do to help fortify your womb space. So for anyone who is dealing with any of the womb traumas that we've mentioned, uh, in addition to that, fertility issues, you have ideas or thoughts or dreams that you are having trouble birthing, you've had miscarriages, terminations, or any type of womb issues, really. We are going to go deep within that. This is one of my areas of specialty. I am a womb healer. This is the bulk of my work is helping women with fertility issues, with womb care and womb cleansing. And so I will be deep diving into all things yoni. Okay. So that means if you're curious about how to do your own yoni steams from home, um, we will be getting some information on that. You will also be getting information on what your moon cycle says about you based on the moon in astrology. So when the timing that your moon comes and what that means for you and how to really maximize based on your natural flow. And so y'all gonna want to get into it, okay? Y'all are not going to want to miss all the jewels that will be dropping. We wanted to make sure that we shared something with the collective because it's really important that we start to do this wellness work. We are the women, we are the healers, and this is where it starts. It starts in the womb. And so I'm hoping to see each and every last one of you in embracing the queen within and also at the Queen's Activation Retreat, which right now you get both for $555. That is unheard of to get a 12-week program and a weekend retreat, all inclusive, which means we're going to provide you with at least 2 meals per day. And we are going to make sure that you enjoy the time while at the retreat and are able to fortify and activate all of these things that you're learning within yourself. Sis, did you want to add anything?
No, I think you hit it on the head. I mean, the weekend retreat is going to be phenomenal. It will be a beautiful experience where we'll be able to come into the space together. Our classes are going to be all on Zoom or all on a virtual platform. We're not sure which one we're going to use yet, but it will be available for everybody everywhere. But being able to come into the physical energy of each other in a room is going to just be priceless. I tell you, we've shared this experience before with several sisters in last year. Was it
Yeah.
last year? Yes,
Mhm.
last year, and it was so beautiful. We had a cohort this year that went through. That ended in February as well, and it was phenomenal. Their retreat was just as amazing. But we are looking to really touch the lives of women in a way that you've never been touched before, mind, body, and soul. And really to be able to be a part of a sisterhood that sees you for who you are and encourages you to continue to show up as your true, authentic self, not hindered by anything else that anyone else would put on you or suppress you or tell you that you're not able to do, be, or have. So, this is a work that is a lifestyle. Like Lady Ankh said, you're going to have days where it just doesn't seem to be working, and you have to go dig a little deeper and, remove a little bit more of the mud or stir it up a little bit so things can come to the surface. But as long as you're supported and committed to doing the work, you will see great great successes, and successes in more ways than one that overflow into the lives of your children, into lives of your workplace, into the lives of into your own creativity, and just enlightenment to doing the things you truly want to do, and seeing how your energy begins to create the life you want to live. So this is what this is about. Even our podcast, even though we're going over embracing the queen within, that's only because that's coming up really quickly, but we will be diving into all kind of matters of life that we as women encounter day to day. So if you have topics that you would like for us to discuss, if you have concerns, if you have true issues of dis-ease and disorder that you want to speak to someone about, we want to offer our services and out to you and say that this is a safe space. We have tools, we've been equipped, we have life experience, and we have been doing this work. We've seen lives of many women change because they've decided to embrace the queen within. So that is our encouragement to you tonight and today, that you would embrace the queen within, learn who you are, show up, shine bright, and not shrink back. And allow your flow to be manageable. How about that? Don't
Ashe.
hemorrhage, sis. Don't hemorrhage. Don't hemorrhage.
No, sis. If you are dealing with anything womb related, and you need some help, you need a village of sisters, we are right here. Take a seat, sis. That was the title of today's podcast. We are the Circle of Sisters. This is our table talk, and we are speaking out
And fixing crowns in the process. Peace and love. Until next time, we'll see you in a few hours
in
at
a
2.
few hours.
Okay.
In a few
All
hours.
right.
We
Peace
will
and
see you
love.
in
Until
a
next
few
time.
hours. Peace.